It's a big-time show this week on Sound Off Sports. That's because the NFL Draft is here. We're talking so much stuff. What should the Raiders do at 6th overall? Shedeur, Ashton Jeanty, plus Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner. Will he really play offense and defense, plus the great Q Meyers? He joins us from Green Bay, from the draft. We got so much to discuss. Let's do this thing. SOS starts right now.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Sam and Ash.
Sanders or Jeanty, who should the Raiders pick at number 6? Keoki Donner on Facebook says, Sanders was a college flop. What makes anyone think he will be better in the NFL?
Well, hey there, and welcome to Sound Off Sports. Mike Davis here, joined by James Edward Barrickman, the fourth, sporting the WrestleMania shirt. We got to see WrestleMania in action at Allegiant Stadium
awesome
Saturday
main event,
night.
Friday night.
Roman Reigns, CM Punk,
Seth
Rollins. So much fun. Paul Heyman doing the little crotch shot. Your face, your reaction to that was amazing.
That main event, I'd never been to a WWE event before in my life. They made a fan out of me in one match.
So much fun.
I had a great time at WrestleMania. Bravo, WWE. I had a great time.
WrestleMania in Vegas, it's a perfect fit. A lot of drama, a lot of fun, but a lot of drama. And that's what's going on right now in the NFL as the NFL Draft is officially here. The Silver and Black selecting at number 6 overall. A lot of people are talking about Shedeur Sanders, quarterback from Colorado, and Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State. Those are the two popular picks, it seems like, circulating on social media, all that kind of stuff. I want to know what you think, James, because, you know, Shedeur is a big guy on your board. You love this guy.
I'm a big Shedeur guy.
You would take him over Cam Ward, who's slated to go number 1.
He's my QB1.
There's a lot of knocks on Shedeur, but you're a big fan. Why is he your QB1?
You're talking to a guy who I watched pretty much every single Colorado game that was played since Deion got there. So I've seen every snap Shedeur has taken at the FBS level. And when you watch him play, the accuracy, the pocket mobility, the knocks on his athleticism and his arm strength, I think, are unwarranted. They are more than serviceable. So I think you look at his stats too: 4,100 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, and a 74% completion percentage. That's pretty unbelievable. And I think with all that being said, that's why I like Shedeur. And I think the knocks on his character or that he's drama, I think a lot of that has to do more with people having a problem with his father and how Deion rubs people the wrong way. It's all outside noise. Have you heard any one of Shedeur's teammates say anything bad about him?
No.
Any one of his coaches say anything bad about him? Any one of the members of the Boulder, Colorado media say anything about him? No, you haven't. So all this stuff feels to me like a smokescreen. And this anonymous report from an assistant coach that comes down saying he's the worst, interview, his body language sucks, this, that, and the other, he's a horrible person. I'm starting to think that it's just all a big smokescreen to kind of push other potential suitors for Shedeur out of the way so that he does fall into the hands of potentially the wrong person in McVay or Kyle Shanahan.
And a lot of coaches, a lot of execs, a lot of scouts, they use the media, they manipulate the media to make desired circumstances occur for them and their team. But let's hear what people at home are having to say about this, because I want to know what people at home want the Raiders to do at number 6.
Mike, Jimmy, I feel like the Raiders should pass on Shedeur Sanders and consider going after that running back. They need help in the backfield more than they do underneath the center. Yeah, I think you know what I mean.
All right, so here's the fascinating wrinkle here. You know, Shedeur, his mentor is Tom Brady. Now, this is the first go-around for the Raiders where they got new coach Pete Carroll, new GM John Spytek, and now Tom Brady as a minority owner. If Brady and his relationship with Shedeur mentoring him, if they don't want to take Shedeur at 6, because we saw what Peyton did last year, Sean Payton with the Broncos taking Bo Nix early at 12. If he's your guy, he's your guy. Meaning, even though you got Geno Smith here, if you really think Shedeur's got the goods, then you're taking him at 6. Now, if they don't take him, and Brady has that relationship, that says a lot about the situation. The other side of the coin, though, is we've seen in the past where teams are uncertain. They're unsure about that potential franchise quarterback, like the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, where they take tight end Hayden Hurst at 22nd overall.
And then
they make a trade with the Eagles at 32 or 30-something, 30 may have been, to draft Lamar Jackson. So they might like Shedeur. They just might not like him top 6 worthy.
And understandable. I'll say this about Shedeur. Of course, he's my QB1, and I think I'm willing to put my name on this and stand and hold myself to this take if a year from now I look stupid. But I think next draft, we're going to be sitting here talking about the Browns, the Giants, the Raiders, the Saints, some of these other quarterback-needy teams that are looking like they're going to pass on Shedeur Sanders. And we're going to see wherever he falls, and a year from now, those teams are going to be like, wow, we messed up. We really passed on our franchise guy, our quarterback of the future. And if you're the Raiders, and you do take Jeanty, who I think is good, but not a top 10 pick, and a guy who you don't even have an offensive line to really open those holes for him. I think if you're the Raiders, Shedeur Sanders has to be your pick. Otherwise, you might end up with just another draft day blunder in a litany of Raiders draft day blunders.
Here's my final thoughts on this. This is what I want to see happen. I would love to see the Raiders trade up for Travis Hunter. He's the best prospect in this draft, number 1 on my board. If that can't occur, I would love to see a scenario where the Raiders take Jeanty, because maybe Shedeur goes earlier, or maybe it's just the way things fall. They can still get Jeanty. I'd love to see that at 6. Another aspect of me is hoping that they could package that high second-round pick, 37th overall, maybe put in Michael Mayer, another piece, and go back and get a Shedeur or a Jackson Dart. That would be my dream scenario for them. We'll see what happens. But guess what? We got a true insider, a guy we all know and love from our Triple SEN programming, the great Q Meyers from ESPN Radio. He's at Lambeau. He's in Green Bay for the draft. He's going to join us coming up next.
Sanders or Jeanty, who should the Raiders pick at number 6? Tommy Crow on Facebook says, Jeanty all day long. Sanders will be an NFL flop.
All right, guys, Mike Davis here inside the Den Fox 5 studios. It's a big time, best time of year, NFL draft time. That's why we had to get our Raiders insider from ESPN Radio. We used to love him on Sin City Beat. Now he's doing big things with Joe and Q on ESPN Radio. He's in Green Bay right now. Was touring Lambeau Field. He was with Roger Goodell not too long ago. But Q Meyers is joining us on Sound Off Sports. Q, you're the perfect guy to talk to as we're gearing up for the silver and black and everything going on with the Raiders draft. So let me start with you here. Okay, 6 overall draft pick. It's a primetime selection for the Raiders. What would you do if you were the general manager at 6? And what do you think the Raiders will do? I want to know both.
Okay, that's a good question. I love that. And thanks for having me on the show, man. I'm so happy to be back on with you guys. But this is the deal. If it's me, if I'm in charge at number 6 and Shedeur Sanders is there, I'm taking him, right? And I know that a lot of Raider Nation would not be happy about that. They'll say, yeah, but they just grabbed Geno Smith. Yeah, but they just extended Geno Smith. Yeah, but he's not going to help you win right now. True, and true, right? I get that. But with that being said, he would be a franchise quarterback. I'm in the belief that he's going to be really good. I understand that some people do not sign up to that he's going to be really good. But the guy who I believe knows the best about him would be Tom Brady, right? The guy who's his mentor, who's a part minority owner of the Raiders. So Geno Smith is not going to be the franchise quarterback for the long haul. So I do see a scenario where if he starts to drop, he drops a 6, I would go and get him at number 6. With having Geno Smith there, you don't have to trade up to go get him. That's what that eliminates. You can sit there, sit at 6 and be comfortable with whoever falls to you and make a decision. But if he's there at 6, I would take him and say, I've got a quarterback that can help me win right now. And I also have a quarterback that I think is going to help me win a little bit later, be the face of our franchise, and going to put a lot of butts in the seats at Allegiant Stadium wearing black Sanders jerseys as opposed to seeing Steeler fans come in as opposed to stealing Bronco fans coming in. Charger fan comes in. All those fans. Instead of seeing all those opposite jerseys, you're seeing your home jerseys because you have a star like Shedeur Sanders in the building.
Okay, so that's what you would do if you were GM. You were putting the name on the card. What do you think they're going to do at 6?
Now, I don't think they're going to do that. I think that what they're going to do at 6 is that they're probably going to attack the trenches, right? I know that the easy name to tie in with the Raiders is Ashton Jeanty, and
right.
I was even signing up for that, okay, they'll probably take him at number 6. But, Mike, I don't know if he's going to be available now, right? I just don't know if he's going to be available because there's so much conversation about a team like the Jaguars at number 5 taking him. Maybe Patriots. Yeah, right. Even at number 4. And it's funny, when the conversation started about Jeanty to the Raiders at 6, my argument was, I don't know if you want to take a running back that high. I don't know if you want to get one at 6. Like that might be a little high. Now I'm sitting there thinking, maybe he's not even going to be there at 6, which is crazy because the narrative has shifted with us, the media, not teams, but us now, to the point of this guy might already be gone. So if he is gone, I think they'll attack the trenches. I think you'll see a Armand Membu, maybe a Kelvin Banks, maybe a Campbell if he's still there. The tackle out of LSU, I could see them going that direction, or even on the other side of the ball with Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. But I think if it's not going to be Jeanty at 6, it's going to be someone in the trenches.
Okay, now another guy here a lot of people like in the Raiders draft room, Spytek, a big culture guy, Brady, a big culture guy. McShay was saying that Kelvin Banks from Texas, another tackle in the trenches that they could like. But let's talk a little bit about the Shedeur thing for a second. Let's expound upon that, because we saw so many mock drafts. The narrative, Q, for the longest time was, wow, I mean, it's a shame. The Raiders again drafting at 6. They're not going to be able to even have the opportunity to draft this guy. And now he's not even in the first round of mock drafts. Tom Pelissero with NFL Network released a report today from an unnamed NFL assistant coach saying Shedeur Sanders, the worst formal interview I've ever been in my life. He's so entitled. He takes unnecessary sacks. He never plays on time. He has horrible body language, blames his teammates, but the biggest thing is he's not that good. So educate me. You've been doing this a long time. You've been covering the draft for a while. How could the narrative shift so much? And is that smoke and mirrors when you see a day or two before the draft a report like that coming out? That to me indicates that there's teams that want this narrative out there because they want him to slide so they can go grab him. Because I'm starting to get worried. Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, Sean McVay and the Rams. Next thing you know, Shedeur slips and he slides into one of those premier elite organizations. That could be the best thing ever for a Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I think that's the exact reason why you're hearing this all of a sudden. And not to mention it's coming from an anonymous source, right? Anonymous coach that says all these bad things about Shedeur. Well, if he blames others, if his body language is bad, if he feels entitled, why don't you go ahead and feel free to say who you are?
There you have it. The best of the best. Our favorite, the great Q Meyers from ESPN Radio. Make sure you go check him out. And to listen to the complete conversation with Q, go to our YouTube page, Silver State Sports.
Can Travis Hunter play offense and defense in the NFL? Ryan Sashidi on Facebook says, it's one or the other. If a team runs a 13-play drive on offense, I can almost guarantee he gets cooked on defense. You can't do two-way in the NFL.
Well, he's set to become the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL, playing both sides of the ball, offense and defense. The last guy to do this, playing football, was a guy named Jim Thorpe.
Pennsylvania native.
The great Jim Thorpe, James.
Yep.
And now, Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter, playing wide receiver and cornerback. He's the number one guy on my board.
Yeah.
He's a tremendous talent. And now he wants, at the next level, like he did at Colorado, in the NFL, he wants to play wide receiver and cornerback, something we've never seen done before. And there's been a lot of talent in the NFL. A lot of guys like the Charles Woodsons, the Desmond Howards, the Deion Sanders, a lot of guys who could have done this, and we've never seen it before.
It's very hard. It is very, very hard. That's why.
He wants to double major, is the way that I'm phrasing it. Travis is saying it's a part of his DNA. He can't not play both sides of the ball.
He would rather never play football again than
he literally
not play
said that.
both ways in the NFL.
So my question to you, James, is this is the big business of the NFL,
Yes.
wear and tear. It's a little different than college. Do you think NFL teams, wherever he goes, that NFL team's actually going to let him play both sides of the ball? Because if they do, you're potentially getting the biggest bargain in sports history. You're getting a guy who could be maybe top 12 in both wide receiver and corner,
You're getting a
and you're
2
paying
for
him
1.
one salary.
Yeah, you're paying one guy to do 2 jobs, which is unheard of. I don't think teams are going to let that happen, at least full-time. And in your words, I don't think they're going to let him double major. I think it's going to be more so, where do they have him graded higher? And if that's at wide receiver, he's going to be a wide receiver first and foremost. Or if they have him, as a corner first and foremost, he's going to stick with the defense first and foremost. But they will have packages for him offensively as kind of like a gadget piece.
So in that scenario, he's majoring and minoring.
He's
basically.
majoring and minoring. It is so hard with the playbooks from the college level to the NFL. They are so expansive, so in-depth, and just the checks pre-snap offensively.
It's a different
defensively.
game.
You have to be so smart to even just remember one side of the ball.
Now, I think he's super
incredibly
smart.
hard to do things for both.
I think he's super
I'm not
smart.
calling him dumb or
he's-
anything.
And he's got a zest for the game, and he wants to do this. And I think that's the number one prerequisite. I think there's a lot of professional athletes that don't love the game as much as he does. So
He's
I think
obsessed with it,
That's
yeah.
a great thing that he's obsessed. The funny thing is here, the logistics. Literally, just like being the job of being a professional NFL player, being in meetings, having to go to the wide receiver room meeting, then go to the defensive meeting, and then the cornerback meeting. I mean, I don't know if it's actually logistically possible.
If teams really wanted to try him full time both ways, the scheduling of these meetings, you would have to
Change things up.
rearrange everything around his schedule. You just can't be in 2 places at once. I think maybe he can work towards that, but I don't think right away it's going to happen. Although I do think he is more than talented enough and in shape enough to do so. I just think when you're an NFL franchise and you're taking him at such a high price, such a high draft pick, you got to protect that investment. And the wear and tear playing both ways in the NFL, it takes a toll on anyone.
So here's my last question for you, because my dream would be if the Raiders trade up to get Travis Hunter. I mean, what a dream scenario to get to. It's like, it's a treat. It's like watching Shohei when he was playing. It would just be a treat to get to watch this guy do his thing.
Yeah.
It's 100%. So there's moments from his college football time, which this is, just another intangible thing before I get to my point. This dude was the number 1 player ranked in his high school class, and he bypassed top-tier college programs to go to Jackson State,
told Florida
and
State to go kick rocks.
to go play with Deion, which I just love that in general. But let me ask you this, because I have etched in my brain, in my memory, the moments from his time at Colorado where he's knocking the ball out at the goal line as a defender, where he's consistently open as a wide receiver. Your gut, James, being a college football dude, if you draft Travis Hunter and he really has to major and minor and he can't double major, would you rather have him as a wideout or a corner? Where is he better in your mind?
That is such a hard question. I am going to go and say I would prefer him at wide receiver. Some of the catches he was able to make in traffic, the way he's able to angle his body to make catches. And there were times at Colorado where he got cooked. I remember there's a guy who's actually a prospect in this draft. He's a Stanford wide receiver, Eric Ayumanor.
Yeah,
I may be botching his last name. That game where Stanford year 1 of Deion came in and beat Colorado, came back from like 28 points down. He cooked Travis Hunter pretty much all game long. And so from that perspective, he just wasn't as buttoned up and clean as a cornerback as I think he is as a wide receiver. Although I do think he's still probably the best corner or second best corner in the draft,
Right,
which is saying something.
It's just insane. I mean, that's why for people to understand this, for him to be the number one wide receiver prospect and the number one cornerback prospect, it's just bonkers, you know? So I love the kid. I hope he turns out to be a member of the Silver and Black. Hopefully Spytech, Carroll, and company can trade up and get this dude because I'd love to see it. Guys, coming up after a short break, it's time for Sink or Swim. James and I are going to reveal our top 6. That's next.
Can Travis Hunter play offense and defense in the NFL? Shannon Kelly on Facebook says, Travis Hunter is a rare talent. He could excel in both offense and defense, especially if he's given the right training and support.
All right, welcome back to SOS. We're going to do a little pitter-patter here.
Yep.
James and I are going to do our top 6 mock draft. That's with no trade.
No trades.
Let's pitter-patter, okay? So Titans, number 1 on the board, first overall pick. Who do you got?
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward for me. Okay, number 2 selection, the Cleveland Browns.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. Okay, we're in unison so far. Number 3, New York Giants. Who do you have going 3?
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter, 3 and 3. Okay. This is where I think things are going to change.
Yes.
New England Patriots, 4.
To Tyro McMillan.
Okay. I got Ashton Jeanty.
Okay.
Okay. Number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars. They got a brand new GM, James Gladstone. He's like 34 years old.
I don't want to
Who's going
believe.
5?
I don't want to believe they're going with Ashton Jeanty, but that's. I want them to take Will Campbell, but I think they'll go with Ashton Jeanty.
Okay. In this scenario, I have Jeanty already off the board at 4, so I'm going to have them taking Jalen Walker.
Okay.
Edge from Georgia, who
Okay.
people are obsessed with. So now that leaves us number 6,
Raiders.
the Raiders, silver and black. Who do you have the Raiders taking at 6?
This is a heart pick because I want it to happen. I got Shedeur Sanders.
Same with me. All right, so you and I are pretty aligned
Yeah.
here, James.
Yeah.
I love to see. Listen, I think we're hoping this happens. If
Pats and
Brady
Jags are going to
likes-
go skill positions at 4 and 5.
I think
Yeah.
so. So maybe Brady loves that Shedeur connection, and maybe there's a reason for all these smoke screens. We'll see what happens. Good luck to the Raiders. Good luck to everybody watching at home. It's NFL draft time, baby. The best time of year. We'll see you next time here on Sound Off Sports.